Good evening. My name is Sister Stephanie, and I serve as the prioress of this Benedictine community. So I have the pleasure of welcoming all of you to the talk this evening. We are very happy that you have joined us. We're very happy that you share our interest in the people of the Ukraine who have been suffering so much. We are blessed to have with us this evening Mother Blandyna, all the way from Poland, who is going to share her experiences. And her translator, Regina Jaworski, yes, who's going to help us understand Mother Blandyna. So without further ado, I welcome you. We're happy to have you, and we ask you to stay for some refreshments afterwards.
Good evening. As we begin, please put your cell phones in airplane mode. My name is Sister Ann Hoffman. I'm a Benedictine sister of Erie, PA. I'm also the director of the Alliance for International Monasticism. AIM USA promotes cooperation and solidarity among Benedictine and Cistercian monasteries throughout the world. When the war in Ukraine began, we received firsthand reports from the Benedictine sisters in Zhytomyr, Ukraine. We shared the news with our monastic communities and friends. Soon, people began to pray and donate. We contacted Mother Blandyna, who is AIM's link to the Ukraine. Donations were wired to her, and the funds were for humanitarian needs. Thus far, we have sent almost $500,000. When Mother Blandyna said she wanted to come to Erie, we decided to make this gathering possible in order to give witness to a Benedictine presence in a war-torn land and to be more aware of the suffering of our brothers and sisters in the Ukraine. I'm pleased to have the opportunity to welcome you, Mother Blandyna, and I thank you for saying yes to the invitation. And Regina, I thank you for saying yes to doing the translating. Regina she's a member of the class of 1966 SBA class. And she studied in Poland for 2 years. Since then, she's made 40 or 50 trips to Poland to teach, to translate for businesses, to translate for politicians, and for mass media. So we are indeed really fortunate to have such a qualified and experienced translator with us. So thank you, Regina. Yesterday, we received a letter from Mother Clara. She's the prioress of the monastery in Zhytomyr. She asked me to share this letter with all of you. Dear Sister Ann Hoffman, AIM USA, benefactors and brothers and sisters in Christ, thank you very much for continuing to support us in this difficult time. We are incredibly touched by your help. It is so unexpected and touching that you are in solidarity with us and embracing us as one big family, as sons and daughters of Saint Benedict. It really gives us strength in our struggle and engenders hope. Regarding the state of our situation, the war continues. It makes itself present and felt every day. Of course, We are accustomed to it and do not react to the sounds of air raids. We hear them several times at night, several times during the day. Sometimes we can hear air defense, see smoke columns from our windows, and we have learned to distinguish the types of air targets by noise. Every day, we hear of strikes on civilian targets, and we have long lost count of the victims. We are losing the best sons of this country. The most heroic, generous men take off and stay in the sky without returning to Earth. All this is literally in the air above us. They are buried daily in the churches of our country. At the same time, we realize the need to return and somehow live on the surface of all this. We have only today, and so much has already been destroyed by this war. We have only now, when it is difficult to afford to live, when everything reminds us that someone is having a hard time, another is paying a high price so that we can drink coffee here in peace in the morning. To see the flag flying in the square, what was once ordinary and mundane, seems incredibly significant today. We have no choice. We have to endure and contain this evil. It is advancing more and more force, like a seven-headed dragon. When one head is cut off, another seven immediately grows back. For more than 550 days now, we have been living without the right to be weak. It is not an option. We have returned to the level of functioning of the monastery that was before the war. We realized that we could not just wait it out, and we returned to everyday life quickly. Furthermore, we opened a new shop and started producing communion hosts in large quantities, larger than before the war. The Eucharistic bread production shop has become our main focus today and an investment for the future. Guests and visitors have also returned to the monastery. Individuals or group retreats are again being actively organized because people need a place where they can find their own rhythms and peace and have opportunities to listen to the word. Many people live in a constant state of anxiety and worry about their loved ones at the front lines and need special accompaniment and balance. The activities of various groups at the monastery, such as the oblates, youth, ministry with the needy, have resumed. Volunteers often stay at the monastery on their way to deliver aid to others, while others come to assist in this ministry. Our monastery serves as a refuge for travelers, sometimes even the military. We willingly serve them with all hospitality. Also, consecrated persons come for various forms of retreats, asking us to be their companions in the form of conferences or guidance in the practice of Lectio Divina. In other words, the monastery is slowly returning to all activities to the best of its ability. The sisters have re-engaged in the work of housekeeping, harvesting the vegetables and fruits in the garden and orchard. As for the monastery in Lviv, the ministry with displaced persons remains stable. The number has decreased as people cannot endure to be away from their homes for so long and returned despite the danger of constant shelling. Some have nowhere to return to because they have lost their homes or because their homes are occupied in occupied territory. Despite the decrease in the workload and the number of new arrivals, the difficulty of the situation is that these people who have been living with us almost since the beginning of the war have become part of us, and we share with them not only the space of the monastery, but also their burden of grief, their fears and uncertainties, their anxieties and worries, their pains and sufferings. We take care of all their needs, health care and summer camps for children, helping them get ready for school, because not all of them have a mother or father, so the sisters fill this need. All of this inevitably goes through each of us, requires much involvement, patience, and companionship. Today, those who remain with us are mostly people who are very weak, with illnesses, disabilities, and other limitations. Many families have already started a new life in Lviv, but they have to start from scratch. We try to give them everything they need to restart again, and consequently, they are able to find work, pay for rent for housing their families. We are truly grateful for your help, because without you, we would not have the means to respond to their needs. These were touching moments when we literally gave them everything they needed to start a new life in separate housing. Basic things such as blankets, linen, food. Many people became very close to us, and as they depart from our home, tears form in their eyes. We are also trying to respond to urgent humanitarian needs, as we did with the man-made disaster in Kharkiv, another crime against humanity by Russia. We sent several aid vehicles to the victims in Kherson, providing essentials and food. We are able to do all this and serve others thanks to your financial support. Therefore, we would like to express our deepest gratitude for everything you do for our country that is fighting a defensive and exhausting war. May the Lord richly reward and bless you. In Christ, Benedictine Sisters of Ukraine.
Chciałam przede wszystkim bardzo serdecznie podziękować siostrze Ann za zaproszenie.
I'd like to very much thank Sister Anne for the invitation.
I wszystkim, którzy chcieli wysłuchać
And all
opowiadania o Ukrainie za przybycie.
the people that would like to hear about what is happening to the Ukraine this time.
Po tym wzruszającym liście matki Klary z Żytomierza trudno coś jeszcze dodać.
And if Mother Claire would like also something to add to it.
Chciałam na początku zaznaczyć, że wszystko, cokolwiek będę mówić, to są moje doświadczenia.
Everything that I'm going to be telling is actually what I have seen.
To jest tylko jakiś wycinek rzeczywistości.
This is only just a small portion of what I can tell you, what I have time to tell you.
Zacznę od takiej bardzo osobistej sprawy, która jednak wiąże się ściśle z Ukrainą.
I'd like to tell about one particular incident that very much reflects the Ukrainian situation.
Dokładnie dzisiaj mija 79. rocznica śmierci 34 moich sióstr pod gruzami kościoła.
Today is the 75th anniversary of the death of 32 sisters in the basement of the church.
Siostry w czasie powstania warszawskiego w 1944 roku.
And it was part of the Warsaw Uprising.
Praktycznie od pierwszych dni już musiały schronić się w podziemiach kościoła.
And actually, in the first day of this uprising, they had to save themselves or to hide in the basement of a church.
Otworzyły klauzurę, przyjęły wszystkich ludzi potrzebujących, którzy przy siostrach czuli się jakoś pewniej.
They would like, at that time, they opened up a clinic, a safe haven for the people that needed help.
I jednocześnie miały jakieś przeczucie, że zginą.
And right from the very beginning, they had a feeling that they were going to die.
Niektóre z nich już przed powstaniem złożyły taką ofiarę z życia.
Even before the Warsaw Uprising, they made this kind of a promise or offering.
Inne zrobiły to już w czasie powstania, ofiarowując życie za zakończenie wojny i wolność naszej ojczyzny.
And the rest of the other sisters also made, and the promise was that they would give their lives for the success of the Warsaw Uprising and the freedom of Poland, the reestablishment of Poland.
I 31 sierpnia 1944 roku Niemcy zbombardowali kościół.
In the beginning of September, the Nazis bombed the church, that church.
I zginęło pod gruzami właśnie 34 siostry,
And
te, które złożyły akt ofiarowania.
The sisters that made the act of offering themselves for the end to the war, the success of the war, they died during this time. They all died during this time.
I dlatego też, kiedy w pierwszych dniach wojny na Ukrainie świat obiegły zdjęcia sióstr z Żytomierza modlących się w podziemiach klasztoru,
And so when the war in the Ukraine began, the sisters remembered what happened to them and how they had to go into the basement to protect themselves. They've also done that.
natychmiast skojarzyło się i mnie, i moim siostrom w Warszawie. Ta sytuacja się skojarzyła z tym, co się działo w czasie powstania.
The sisters, Sister Blandyna, our mother Blandyna, and the other sisters remembered what happened in the Warsaw Uprising, and so they knew the need was there for this one also.
Wydawało się nam, że historia się powtarza. Warszawa i Ukraina, Polska i Ukraina.
This war is repeating itself. The war that happened in Poland everything now is being repeated. The same, the war in Ukraine is following the same thing that happened in Poland, in Warsaw.
W Polsce wciąż jest bardzo żywa pamięć o II wojnie światowej, w której Polska straciła około 6 milionów obywateli.
In Poland, it is very active in their memories that over 6 million people died in Poland. Residents of Poland that lived in Poland, over 6 million people died during World War II.
I rosyjski atak na Ukrainę jednocześnie z 3 stron, od wschodu, północy i południa,
The attack on Ukraine was from 3 sides. There were 3 areas of entrance into the Ukraine, from the north and the south.
też budził skojarzenia z niemal jednoczesnym atakiem na Polskę Niemiec od zachodu i Rosji sowieckiej od wschodu w 1939 roku.
It brought to mind the attack on the Ukraine brought to mind what had happened in Poland. In September 1st, 1939, the attack was on the east and the west.
I myślę, że stąd też u Polaków się pojawiła tak powszechna, spontaniczna i wręcz nagląca potrzeba niesienia pomocy Ukraińcom.
And because of this, the memories of World War II, the Poles realized that they must come to the aid of the Ukrainians.
Praktycznie od pierwszego dnia wojny ludzie zaczęli zwozić do punktów darów żywności, ubrań, pościeli, środków czystości, leków.
Right from the beginning of the war, the Poles realized that they must bring to a particular area any extra sheets, clothes, things that were needed for life, food, everything.
Błyskawicznie też utworzono ośrodki dla uchodźców.
Very quickly, like lightning, there different centers were started to help the Ukrainians.
Ale przede wszystkim ludzie jechali na granicę, żeby zabierać Ukraińców do swoich domów.
But one of the things that happened very, very quickly, immediately, was that Poles were driving to the border to pick up Ukrainians that were fleeing the war.
Także wręcz ustawiały się kolejki samochodów po odbiór uchodźców.
So there was a line of cars waiting to take these refugees from the border.
I oczywiście w tę pomoc włączyły się również klasztory, w tym również klasztory benedyktynek w Polsce.
And along with these people were the Benedictine sisters, and to help these people to bring them in.
Trudno powiedzieć, ilu uchodźców przewinęło się przez Polskę.
It is just about impossible to say how many refugees had entered through the borders of Poland.
Wielu pojechało na zachód, część wróciła na Ukrainę.
Many went to western parts of Europe. Some returned to the Ukraine.
W Polsce w tej chwili mamy około 2 milionów Ukraińców.
And in Poland right now we have about 2 million Ukrainian refugees living.
I w takim szczytowym momencie zgromadzenia zakonne w Polsce przyjęły ponad 10 000 kobiet, dzieci i starszych osób.
In Poland, we have more than 10,000 people, such as women, children, elderly people, people that need assistance. For example,
I część z nich trafiła do klasztorów benedyktynek.
A group of these people made it to the Benedictine monastery.
Były to klasztory położone najbliżej przejść granicznych, czyli Przemyśl, Jarosław i Staniątki.
Um, First, they came to three different cities, Jarosław, Przemyśl, and
Staniątki.
Stanyanki, and they came for help to the monasteries there.
Również siostry benedyktynki z Samarii Niegowej i z Otwocka przyjęły duże grupy uchodźców.
Very large groups were welcomed to two other monasteries more into Poland.
I nie było wtedy czasu na przygotowania i kalkulacje, czy damy radę.
There was not any time to try to calculate how are we going to take care of them, how are we going to feed them and house them.
W niektórych wspólnotach sióstr jest mało i są w starszym wieku, a mimo wszystko zdecydowały się na przyjęcie bardzo dużej ilości uchodźców.
Many of these sisters of ours are elderly, and there was still no question about how we're going to take them. It was decided we must take them.
Teraz już sytuacja bardzo się zmieniła,
Now the situation has changed
dlatego że część uchodźców wróciła na Ukrainę,
because quite a number of the refugees have returned to the Ukraine.
część znalazła już sobie domy, pracę, czasem otworzyła własne biznesy.
Those that remained in Poland that are not with us or living in the monasteries right now have purchased or were able to obtain homes or apartments. They have started businesses. They have found places to work.
Także w tej chwili, jeśli chodzi o benedyktynki, to pozostało jeszcze kilka matek z dziećmi u sióstr benedyktynek Samarytanek w Niegowie.
In one town, there are still quite a number of mothers with children that remain, children that need help.
Oczywiście uchodźców przyjęły również klasztory na zachodzie Ukrainy.
And of course, other monasteries that are not in the Ukraine have also taken in refugees.
Klasztor w Żytomierzu niedługo przed wojną otworzył nową fundację w pobliżu Lwowa.
There was one monastery that collected money to bring water to the people. Co jeszcze?
Nowy klasztor otworzył.
Okay. A new monastery was opened up that had apartments or cells, and the cells had water facilities, in other words, bathrooms and toilets, etc. And it was a brand new monastery.
I w tym klasztorze siostry przyjęły właśnie uchodźców, ponieważ klasztor był dosyć nowocześnie zorganizowany, także w pokojach były łazienki, więc w każdym pokoju można było ulokować rodzinę.
This monastery, it was a brand new monastery. It had not been used, so they were able to, in one room, or one cell, they would take in a family, and they were able to survive and be together that way. The sisters gave up their rooms.
W szczytowym okresie było tam około 120 rodzin, 120 osób, przepraszam.
And at one time, there were 120 rodzin, czy
Ludzi.
120 people living there.
Teraz część z nich już wróciła do domów, także ta liczba się zmniejszyła.
Now, some of the people that were living there have returned home, so it is a little bit less number of people living there.
Z kolei wspólnoty w Polsce starały się pomóc Ukraińcom, również nie tylko przyjmując uchodźców, ale również tym, którzy pozostali na Ukrainie.
Now it is more that we still help the people, the refugees that remained in Poland, but many have returned, and so we are now working with the Ukrainians that have returned to the Ukraine.
organizując transporty humanitarne.
We organize humanitarian transportation.
I tutaj częściowo one były sfinansowane właśnie ze środków, które otrzymałyśmy od AIM.
They were filled with things that transport from IAM money that was donated. They purchased and filled those areas with things from IAM.
Były to przede wszystkim takie bardzo podstawowe środki, znaczy żywność, środki czystości.
The things that are being sent there are things that would be necessary. For example, food, things for toiletries, and
Leki.
and medicine.
Siostry bardzo aktywnie włączają się w pomoc humanitarną na Ukrainie, gdzie na terenie objętym wojną pozostało w dalszym ciągu około 150 sióstr Polek i 200 sióstr innych narodowości, w tym Ukrainek.
In the Ukraine, there are 150 sisters from Poland, and working with the humanitarians, helping them, and then also sisters from other countries, Benedictine sisters from other countries, and Benedictine sisters from Poland.
O ich działalności powstała już nawet książka napisana przez dosyć znaną w Polsce dziennikarkę pod tytułem Siostry Nadziei.
An article, a thing was written about the sisters and their help, the Polish sisters and their help bringing the humanitarian aid from unexpected humanitarian aid from Poland.
Taką bardzo, bardzo wzruszającą historią było przybycie do Polski sióstr misjonarek razem z dziećmi z domu dziecka przez nich prowadzonego.
There was one of in this book, one of the things that was brought out was the aid that was given to children that are in need, and how they are helping them. And this is written about it. The sister is Polish that is has organized this book.
Siostry, dzieci znalazły w Polsce bezpieczną przystań.
Bezpieczną?
Dzieci znalazły schronienie w Polsce.
The children,
Sieroty.
children, especially orphans and children in need, have found themselves in Poland, being taken care of. They were taken to Poland for aid, and many of them are orphans.
I kiedy wkrótce po przybyciu siostry poprosiły je o narysowanie czy namalowanie swoich przeżyć,
the sisters asked the children to draw or to color, to create a story of their survival, how their experience in the war.
powstały bardzo wstrząsające rysunki.
And many pictures are very moving.
Muszę też powiedzieć, że na ulicach polskich miast bardzo często słyszy się język ukraiński.
I have to say that very often, constantly on the Polish streets, you hear the Ukrainian language spoken by children.
Jedna z naszych sióstr wyszła do lekarza, nie mogła znaleźć drogi.
Drogi? Droga?
Zgubiła się, tak.
Okay. One of our sisters was going to the doctor and she got lost. The road on the way to the doctor.
Pytała po drodze 9 osób o drogę.
She asked 9 different people, where is this road?
Na te 9 osób 7 to byli Ukraińcy.
Out of that, 7 of the children were Ukrainian.
I też szukając zdjęć do tej prezentacji, przeglądałam WhatsAppa z wiadomościami z Ukrainy.
When she was looking for pictures for this presentation, she went to WhatsApp to find pictures.
I znalazłam taką wiadomość od matki Klary z listopada ubiegłego roku.
She found this from Sister Clara from November of last year.
Było już wtedy bardzo zimno i wiedziałam, że w nocy był atak rakietowy na Żytomierz.
It was a very cold night, and there were also rockets. They could hear the rockets exploding.
Więc wysłałam rano wiadomość, co u was, czy macie wodę i prąd.
So she sent a message, do you have water and electricity?
I matka Klara mi odpisała.
And Mother Clara wrote back to me.
Od ponad doby nie mamy prądu, ani wody, ani ciepła.
We don't have electricity, we don't have water, and we don't even have any heat.
Podłączyli tylko generator do lodówek i do podładowania telefonów komórkowych.
The electricity was only to plug the place where food is contained, like a freezer, and for cellular phones.
Dziękuję za wszystko. My nie tracimy nadziei.
Thank you for everything. We are not going to lose hope.
Ciemno na zewnątrz, ale światło w duszy.
It's dark outside, dark and cold outside, but it's warm inside our hearts.
I ostoją dla tych ludzi z terenów ogarniętych wojną i tych, którzy byli zmuszeni opuścić ojczyznę.
It's hard for the people that are there and that have had to leave because of the war.
Jest przede wszystkim modlitwa i ludzka życzliwość.
What remains is hope in the future.
Życzliwość?
Okay. Faith in God and hope.
W czasie bombardowań i ataków rakietowych ludzie gromadzili się na modlitwie w piwnicach i schronach.
When the bombs are flying, that you hear them overhead, you can only be in the basement and pray and hope for, and have hope.
Tam też były odprawiane msze święte.
And there also the mass is being said in those basements.
Mamy też świadectwa ludzi, którzy trafili do klasztoru benedyktynek pod Lwowem.
We also have people that have been able to make it to the Benedictine monastery in Lwów.
Czasem byli to ludzie niewierzący albo niepraktykujący od bardzo wielu lat.
There were people that did not believe or had not practiced their religion in many years.
U sióstr zaczęli chodzić do kościoła, uczestniczyć w liturgii.
They saw the sisters and they started going to mass and participating in the liturgy.
I po jakimś czasie na razie byli po prostu jako bierni świadkowie, a po jakimś czasie odkryli, jak bardzo terapeutyczną siłę ma rytm monastycznego życia.
They came as unbelievers and slowly they realized the strength, the beauty, the power within the monastic life.
Teraz ludzie starają się już żyć w miarę normalnie, na ile to jest możliwe.
People right now are trying to live a normal life, if anything like that is even possible.
Kościół podjął katechizację i działalność duszpasterską.
The churches have started catechisms, teaching religion and religious life, religious celebrations.
Kościelne święta również podnoszą bardzo ludzi na duchu.
And many of the churches have convinced people to believe in the Spirit.
I oczywiście wszelkie świadectwa pamięci o nich, jak chociażby wizyta delegata papieża Franciszka, czyli kardynała Krajewskiego, bardzo ludzi podniosła na duchu.
When the Pope came, the people were remembering when the Pope was there, and also the Cardinal Franciszka, and they started remembering and returning to a life, a religious life.
Mam też takie relacje od sióstr benedyktynek misjonarek pracujących na Ukrainie.
I have also information or received information from a Benedictine missionary sister,
Że w tej chwili pojawili się powtórni uchodźcy, czyli tacy, którzy wrócili już do swoich domów i musieli powtórnie je opuścić.
There are people that have returned to their homes and they do not want to leave.
Jest bardzo dużo rodzin osieroconych.
There are many people that have lost loved ones in the battles.
Bardzo dużo żołnierzy poranionych wraca z frontu.
Many soldiers are returning that can no longer fight because of war wounds that they have.
Są poranieni i fizycznie, i psychicznie.
They are wounded, physically wounded, but also spiritually wounded.
Wielu się boryka z zespołem stresu pourazowego.
Many have gone through much stress and it is reflected in their life.
Z drugiej strony, ponieważ są już ogromne braki w armii, do wojska powoływani są nawet chorzy, niepełnosprawni, kapłani.
There are now people that are being called up to the Ukrainian army that are sick, that are elderly, that have also many wounds.
Jest coraz więcej nalotów i ataków rakietowych.
Now there are more rockets and attacks from above.
To jest zburzony, w tej chwili widzimy na ekranie zburzony niedawno kościół niedaleko Mikołajowa na południu Ukrainy.
This is the picture that is on now is the remains of a church not far from Mykolaiv on the south of the Ukraine.
To jest oczywiście tylko jeden z wielu zburzonych kościołów.
This, of course, is just one of many churches that have been blown up.
Mieszkańcy mówią, że kościół przetrwał 2 wojny światowe, rewolucję październikową i cały okres komunizmu.
This church has survived 2 world wars, an insurrection, and it had survived the communist rule.
Został zburzony teraz przez Rosjan i to ze szczególną zaciekłością. Kilkakrotnie wracali, bombardowali specjalnie tak, żeby ten kościół został zniszczony doszczętnie.
This church was, the Russians specifically attacked this church to destroy it because they did not want this particular church to survive.
Jest też zdjęcie, które daje nadzieję, bo z ruin siostra benedyktynka misjonarka wynosi figurę Chrystusa zmartwychwstałego.
This particular picture shows a Benedictine sister who is retrieving a statue of Blessed Mother and Christ.
Także na zakończenie chciałam powiedzieć, że jesteśmy ogromnie wdzięczne za każdą pomoc, za modlitwę, za życzliwość, za dobre słowa i za każde wsparcie finansowe.
And to end with, I would like to say, we are very, very grateful and very thankful for any type of help, for your prayers, for your good words, for your intentions, and also for your for the generosity you have shown to the people.
Jesteśmy świadome, że za każdym dolarem stoi konkretna osoba i konkretne, otwarte, szczere serce.
We are positive that with every dollar, people have opened their hearts and opened their wallets to help.
I za to wszystko chcemy bardzo, bardzo serdecznie podziękować.
And for this, we would very, very, very much like to thank you, specifically thank you for that.
Ukraina niestety wykrwawia się codziennie i codziennie jest systematycznie niszczona.
Unfortunately, the Ukraine every day, blood is spilled and keeps on. It's not getting better.
Spodziewamy się, że jesienią i zimą Rosjanie znów będą uderzać w infrastrukturę energetyczną.
We have unfortunately a feeling that the Russians will continue in the fall and the winter. They will continue bombing and destroying us.
Będzie im zależało na tym, żeby pozbawić ludzi ogrzewania w czasie mrozów i zmusić do kapitulacji.
We want to encourage the people to continue to, even though it will be the time of the frost, not to give up.
Wszyscy jesteśmy już zmęczeni tą wojną i wszyscy byśmy chcieli, żeby ona się jak najszybciej skończyła.
We are all tired of this war. We all want it to be concluded.
I żeby wszystko wróciło do normalności.
That everything returned to normal.
Ale ta normalność nie może być przyzwoleniem na bezprawie, przemoc i dokonywanie mordu na całym narodzie.
But this normality that we want cannot be where the people will be killed and that they won't exist.
Dlatego Ukraina ciągle potrzebuje pomocy.
Therefore, the Ukrainians constantly need help.
Chciałam zakończyć modlitwą za lud ukraiński.
I would like to end with a prayer for the Ukraine.
Pod Twoją obronę uciekamy się, Święta Boża Rodzicielko. Naszymi prośbami racz nie gardzić w potrzebach naszych, ale od wszelakich złych przygód racz nas zawsze wybawiać, Panno chwalebna i błogosławiona. O najchwalebniejsza Maryjo, zawsze dziewico, Matko Chrystusa, naszego Boga, przyjmij nasze modlitwy i przedstaw je swemu Synowi, naszemu Bogu, aby przez wzgląd na Ciebie oświecił i zbawił nasze dusze. Amen.
Prayer, I would like to conclude with a Ukrainian prayer. Prayer for the people of the Ukraine. We fly to your patronage, O Virgin Mother of God. Despise not our prayer and our needs, but deliver us from all dangers, since you alone are pure and blessed. O most glorious ever Virgin Mary, the Mother of God, of Christ, our God, accept our prayers and present them to your Son and our God, that for the sake of you, he enlighten and save our souls. Amen. Okay, Pitanya. Okay, does anyone have any questions?
From online, how can people give monetary support and can people go to volunteer?
Jak oni mogą wysłać pieniądze, gdzie, jak adres i czy ludzie mogą jechać na Ukrainę, żeby pracować tam, współpracę tam?
Myślę, że pieniądze można przekazać albo bezpośrednio na konta klasztorów na Ukrainie, albo przez najbezpieczniej przez IM.
Money can be donated directly to a convent or a monastery in the Ukraine or through IAM. That would probably be the safest route is IAM. AIM. AIM.
In USA.
AIM.
Can
I pom-
people go to volunteer?
I czy ludzie mogą iść i współpracować tam?
Myślę, że tak. Myślę, że tak, tylko trzeba by to jakoś wcześniej umówić.
I think they could, but it would have to be arranged ahead of time. Okay.
Can Polish people understand the Ukrainian language?
Czy Polacy rozumieją ukraińskie?
Języki się bardzo różnią, ale da się dogadać.
The languages are very different, but they are able to communicate.
Dlatego też Ukraińcy chętnie w Polsce zostają, bo nie mają problemu z nauczeniem się języka.
And that's why the Ukrainian people stay in Poland, is because it's much easier for them to learn the Polish language.
Jest na pewno bliższy polskiego niż rosyjski.
Better Polish jest bliżej.
Ukraiński jest bardziej podobny do polskiego niż rosyjski do polskiego.
Ukrainian is more similar to Polish than to Russian. President Zelensky, no, ukraiński prezydent, teraz jest, że Ukraińcy będą brali więcej i że to będzie zmienia, jak to wojna wychodzi. Czy myślisz, że to, co oni teraz robią, czy to wychodzi, czy nic z tego? Bo ona mówiła, że także chyba nic nie zmieniał.
Ja wiem, że z tego, co powiedziałam, to wygląda tak to pesymistycznie. Natomiast no, prawda jest taka, że Ukraińcy nie mają dostatecznego uzbrojenia i po prostu nie dysponując samolotami, podczas gdy Rosjanie nimi dysponują, po prostu nie mają szans w takim starciu.
It sounds very pessimistic, but the problem is the Ukrainians don't have the equipment that the Russians have. The Russians have the planes and have access to more equipment than the Ukrainians. I o ludzi.
Bardzo podobna sytuacja była przed laty w Afganistanie też.
There is a similar situation like this in Afghanistan.
Póki nie otrzymali samolotów, po prostu nie dawali rady z Rosjanami.
Until they until the airplanes came in, it was not successful.
I think, you talked about the many turning to God in the midst of the horror. In some ways that surprised me. I understand it, and yet I would think that many would feel abandoned by God. Can you comment? Is there a sense that God's abandoned them, the Ukrainian people, or is there such a deep sense of hope in the presence of God that they aren't struggling with a sense of abandonment?
Rozumiesz, że ludzi tam, no, jak mówię, że dużo ludzi wrócą do Boga, ale to jest ciekawe dla mnie, bo ja tak myślałam, że ludzie będą widzieli to i myślę, że Bóg nie jest dla nich, że Bóg podaje kraj. Czy na Ukrainie, czy ludzie naprawdę idą do Boga i czują, że Bóg naprawdę dba o nich, czy myślę, że Bóg obrócił i nie dba o Ukrainę?
Na pewno trudno jest generalizować.
It's hard to generalize.
Są różne przypadki, są też przypadki jakichś załamań, ale generalnie mówiło się w pewnym momencie, że na Ukrainie już nie ma ludzi niewierzących.
It's hard to generalize. For sure, there are people that have believe God has forsaken them. But in general, if you go to the Ukraine, you'll find a strong belief in God and a strong presence in his power.
After World War II, I know that Poland became communist because, you know, after the invasion. So the children growing up after World War II never knew anything about God, never knew anything about religion. So do you think now that the Ukrainians have come with their belief in God, have influenced the smaller ones when they're together with them? Or, because I don't know if the parents are going to be teaching the children anything more about religion, about God, because things are, I don't know if President Duda is going to have any more influence on that.
Okay. Po drugiego wojny światowej, jak był komunizm, że dzieci nie wierzyli w Boga. Ja nie zgadzam tym, ale to ono mówi, że dzieci nie wierzą w Boga i tak nie był wierzący ludzi. Czy myślisz, że dzieci na Ukrainie będą tak samo, że oni nie będą wierzyć w Bóg i że rodzice będą, czy rodzice będą mogli dotykać to i zmieniać ten zdanie? Tak, ja nie wiem, jak to.
To znaczy, po pierwsze, myślę, że w Polsce Ludowej z wiarą wcale nie było tak źle.
I would say that as far as religion in the Polish People's Republic, which is what Poland was called under communism, it wasn't quite that bad.
Pamiętam, jak sama chodziłam na katechizację, to po prostu salki katechetyczne pękały w szwach i był problem, żeby jakoś dzieci podzielić na sensowne grupy, żeby się wszystkie pomieściły.
There were so many children that were coming to religious education. It was hard to find places for classrooms for them.
Teraz jest dużo gorzej.
Right now, it's a lot worse. As far as children and going to church, etc.
Mother Blandyna, thank you for sharing your experiences of what's occurred, what's continuing, and thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for sharing what is happening in Poland, what has happened in Poland, and thank you for helping. Thank you for giving us what we need to know.
Thank you.